Are you a fan of the No Dishes podcast? Be sure to check out our Patreon, where you can find exclusive merch and perks, and join the Clean Plate Club, our Facebook group where you can connect with other fans of the No Dishes podcast, share your favorite moments from the most recent episodes, and submit questions for upcoming guests. Season 4 of the No Dishes podcast is brought to you by VisitBloomington.com. VisitBloomington.com is the best resource for restaurants and culinary information, special events, fun activities, places to stay, and more in our area. We share a similar mission here on the No Dishes podcast of highlighting local businesses and the people who make our community unique. We can't thank them enough for hopping on board. Check them out at visitbloomington.com to easily plan your next meal, visit, or night out on the town. All right, welcome to the first side dish episode of the No Dishes podcast. We are going to be trying this out. We're going to see what comes of it. It's going to be people that have had a hand in the No Dishes podcast for all of our side dish episodes, 10 weeks, season 4. So for the first one, I thought it was incredibly fitting that we would have our producer, our new partner in No Dishes, Garrett Poortinga with Green Hat Media.
Hey, say, honey, let's go out to eat. Relieve our culinary duties. With all these restaurants to sweep us off our feet, they're bound to turn us into foodies. No dishes, no dishes, no dishes. We'll have a bottle of wine, relax and have a good time. No dishes, no dishes.
Yeah.
That's my cameo in the episodes, right?
Excalibur
the Excalibur ad.
No, that was one of my favorite parts of all the ads we've done is the
You were
random.
like, no, they're okay with puns.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we're writing that script, and I look at their website, and it's like loaded with puns. I'm like, yeah,
Lean in, baby. Lean in.
It's like, ooh, this is my honey hole.
Yeah.
But
Thanks for
welcome.
having me.
Absolutely.
In this chair.
Yeah,
Not over there.
You look better in the shadows.
I
but
know. Yeah.
That's what I get all the time, so I figured I'd use it on somebody else.
Really? People said that to you before.
Well, they say I have a face for radio.
Well, that's kind of like outplayed, I think. Like that's
Yeah, I
we
know.
could think of something a little more.
Well, that's the best part about
original.
like adding video for this podcast is like the one thing nobody asked for to see me. So yeah, it's like hearing me is one thing. Nobody's like, we want to look at Jordan.
We really want to see him, see his eyes.
Yeah, no, it's but we're gonna give it to you anyway.
Yeah.
This is what you're getting.
We want to see him when he eats, not just hear him.
Yeah, we tried recording this when
we were just eating the whole
we were just
time.
smashing hummus. We thought it would be good. It was not.
No,
it was
we're
not.
just going to delete
So
all
here we
those
are on
files.
the next take. But welcome. Yeah, welcome
Thank
to this
you.
side.
Appreciate it.
Green Hat Media.
Yep.
It was funny how this all kind of came to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were meeting about something totally different.
Food. We were meeting about
we
food.
were meeting. That is true. We were so not totally different, but not about No Dishes, the podcast, any of that.
Yeah.
It was an idea you had that still might come eventually. Right now, our time is not there for that. But yeah, it was really cool. It was a very interesting point in my life. We were just meeting about that. You know, I had Wes, our producer for the first 3 seasons with the production house, had just decided to go focus on other projects.
Yeah.
You know, I was a couple months into sobriety and wasn't sure what the next step was going to be for No Dishes.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, it kind of comes up in our conversation and you tell me how much you love No Dishes. And I was like, okay, cool. So like, you want to come on, you want to do it like, and yeah.
Sure.
Tell us what was it about that made you want to come on and partner on this, and what spoke to you about No Dishes and what we do.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find where to start. So obviously there was the basic technical need of like microphones, audio recording, video, all of that is directly in my wheelhouse. So I felt just instantly comfortable with what the need was that you had sort of opening up, right? And so I was like, oh yeah, of course, like I can do all that.
The timing was perfect.
That's not like in my head a stopping point for me, right? But moreover, I just got I got the idea. Like it just seems so accessible to me. Like in just the name No Dishes, like it's self-explanatory. And so I think that's sometimes is really what a lot of people, writers, media producers are trying to do. They're trying to make something that just like people can get, right? They don't have to spend extra time setting that framework. And that's what excited me. Like I love seeing like your reviews and like your writing style seem just like informal enough, but like silly, accessible again. Like it could appeal to anyone, and it felt like a conversation, right? Like it didn't seem like it was like overly produced in and of itself. But I know you spent a lot of time wordsmithing it too,
I
now that we've
that.
talked about it.
Yeah, no, it's still supposed to just be kind of silly,
a little tongue in cheek at times, and but like you've written so many of them, and yet you still find new ways to describe like the taste or like the presentation or something that could be said the same thing all the time.
Right.
Like I don't think, I haven't read all of them, but I don't think you explain something the same way twice or
I'll
very
take that,
often.
Because I feel like I run into that, like why, like what can I say that hasn't been said?
Right.
And
that's
so like,
tough.
and that keeps me from writing reviews all the time. But if I just go and just write, it usually works itself out. So I'm glad. Thanks for.
It's funny. It's fun to see the turn of phrase you're gonna come up with in that review. And I want to be along for that ride. Like that's really what it was. I was like, well, and I just like personally, man, like I love the Food Network. Like if I travel a lot for work, and the first thing I do when I get in my hotel room before I unpack any of my bags or find out where I'm going to go eat is I just turn on the Food Network.
Yeah, hang out with Guy.
Hang out with Guy and Bobby.
Where's yeah. You know, my bros, my buddies.
It's I literally like the last few times I'll just leave the TV on from the moment I get into the room until I leave. Like maybe in the middle of the night I'll turn it off in my sleep, but like even when I leave to go to the shoot,
turn it off in your sleep. That's
somehow.
Okay.
I don't know. Ever since I was a teenager, I'd fall asleep watching TV. I'd wake up, it'd be turned off.
Really?
I don't know what's going on there? And I didn't turn like the sleep timer on or something like that.
Instead of like sleep apnea, it's like sleep turn off TV or some bullshit, you know?
Yeah, something like that. We'll workshop that
one. Workshopping it. There's something there.
But so it's like I love media that's around food, about food, showing how food is, made or people enjoying it, talking about it, whatever it is. Like it's been always like in the back of my mind, like for the longest time, and still like I love doing work that's around musicians and music, like as from jump as like a young photographer. Like I love to go to shows and meet the musicians and take photographs of them and give them photographs and have them enjoy them. That's always been a passion, but I think more so in the last, couple of years or more, it's been like food related too as well, in addition to the musician stuff. So,
well, I'm glad it worked out. Again, the timing was huge, and it was just so funny. We were meeting about something else, and then it just kind of worked out. And along with the production, you've brought so much else to the table as far as your vision for this set, getting us rolling with Ashley filing an LLC and just treating it more like a business than a side project.
Well, I had the lamp, Well, that's really...
That's true. That's true. You had the lamp. I had the table and chairs. Yeah. Everything else was just
And it was like
that.
We were riffing about like... I don't even know if we were talking about the set, but we were talking about the feeling of going to like Pizza Hut as a kid.
Yeah.
You know?
It was all started with the red cups.
And then like the red cups, like all the wood paneling, and like also Mother Bears. Like who doesn't love Mother Bears? And Bloomington has a similar vibe. Like we've talked about, it'd be great if people like sign the wall or something. We haven't gotten into that yet, but
we might start that next season. Right now, where it's like it's still so new and we're still so proud of like building it ourselves.
Yeah.
That like we're like
fresh.
No, don't.
Well, we need a little drawer of Sharpies and like pocket knives.
No, exactly.
You know, because there's nothing here to like.
No, I know.
Carve it or write on it. Yeah.
It's just kind of time ran out very quickly, and we've been doing so much the last few months. It's really nice to finally be like, okay, we're putting this out there.
Yeah.
The shopping list with the Sharpies and the knives has slipped through the cracks.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get there, and then any past guests that have come on can come by sometime, carve in there.
Oh yeah,
or maybe we'll do the sidewalls
and
leave this clean. I don't know.
I'm a game for whatever, man.
We can talk about it another time.
Yeah. I think there's also something to be said about being the first person to do it.
Right.
Because like that could, depending on who it is, like somehow also just the fact that it's the first person could be like memorialized in some way. And like it's like it's the reverse, but still it's like that vibe of like, oh, there's one last piece of pie or there's one last cookie on the tray. No one wants to take that last piece.
Oh, I do all the time.
I do it all the time. I don't care.
Like, wait, other people don't? Is that
like,
why it's always
they're
there
waiting for someone
Yeah.
to take it? I'm like, okay,
is there
well,
etiquette?
here I am. I'll take it. But it's maybe it's like that kind of vibe where it's like breaking the seal, right? Like,
Yeah, no. Well, that's why I feel like we probably need to do it, and probably like we build it. Like we need to do our own thing.
Sure.
And then that way we won't feel bad when a guest comes in and be like, oh yeah, we've already
Right.
like scarred it or
yeah,
whatever.
scarred it.
Yeah. It's like, you want to go watch Lion King, bro? You know it. Anyway,
Everything
man. Yeah.
the
So
light touches.
tell us about yourself. You're a townie, man. You got more
Yeah.
street cred than I do. I'm over here talking about Bloomington. You're the one that's
I do.
born and raised.
You're never gonna one up me on that, man. Unless I literally from this day forward like move away, which my wife told me I'm not allowed to do that.
Yeah,
so.
you should probably listen to her. Yeah, that'd probably be a good move for you.
She's smarter than me, so I'll just
Yeah.
do whatever she
We
says.
all,
Yeah.
we know. She's smarter than me.
She has 2 master's degrees.
She's
so,
smarter than pretty
you know.
much everybody I know. So
Yes, this is true.
you lucked out. Yeah, kicked your
I
coverage.
still sometimes don't know how that happened.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought it up because I've been meaning to ask.
How did that happen?
Yeah, it's I don't know, good for
I
you.
don't know. Because the crazy thing is like, you know, I still have a beard and I just happened to trim it up like a few days ago. But at its most, it like kind of covers my neck. But at that particular moment in my beard lifespan, it was like down to my belly button. Like it was like Duck Dynasty beard. It was massive. Like I'd never trimmed it or anything. You know,
was
it
this
was like
when like Lord of the Rings it came out and she just really liked Gandalf?
Those came out a long time ago when we were kids. Came out,
my
right?
bad.
Yeah.
I thought you were a lot older.
No.
My bad.
No, it wasn't a Gandalf. It looked like Gandalf's beard.
Yeah.
But since then, I found that she is a big fan of like Viking, like TV shows, Viking movies, blah blah blah
That's
blah.
all adding
So
up. Yeah, you just lucked out.
yeah, I'll let you know if I get any new information. But I don't know
how that happened. Well, anyway, we appreciate.
Yeah,
how much
born and
time she
raised-
lets you come do this stuff.
Yeah, somehow I keep promising her that she'll get some time back at some point from me.
Yeah, we'll get
You
there.
know, but we got to get this season off the ground.
For now, we appreciate
Yes,
it. But yeah, tell
yes.
us your story, man.
My story. What a great prompt.
Yeah.
Are you tired?
Yeah. Well, I already let in with the main stuff, so now it's like your
Yeah.
story. You're
No,
a
I just
Bloomington
you know
boy.
I like giving you a hard time.
I know.
It's my love language, right?
Yeah. Thanks.
Giving
Thanks.
people a hard time is how I show I care.
Yeah, that's how I've said something along those lines. Like, if I didn't make fun of you, that's when you should be worried.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Bloomington. Born in Bloomington Hospital, that is now demolished, I guess.
R.I.P.
But at the time, my family actually lived not in Bloomington, but they came to the Bloomington Hospital for the labor. And then like a year or two later, I don't remember.
The labor, were they hiring?
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were part of the Labor Party.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
there it is.
Yes.
That makes sense.
So yeah. Born and raised in Bloomington. Yeah. What do you want to know? I don't know. I don't know where to go with that.
No,
man.
no. All right. Well, so how did you get into production? Green Hat Media.
Yeah.
That's what brought you here. How did Green Hat Media come
Okay,
out?
sure. So video. It's funny. I remember as a kid, just being like fascinated with trying to figure out how like cameras worked and like what it meant to have like a photograph or something like that.
Yeah.
Like what was it real? Like was what you're seeing real? Like all that philosophical, like very metaphysical,
was it like
existential stuff.
Like a Polaroid thing?
No,
Like-
so my dad had like a Minolta 35 millimeter where you could like change the lenses. So he'd let me like play with the lenses and like see how that worked. And I was like, I love disposable cameras when I was a kid, like taking them to summer camp with me or on road trips and stuff and just snapping shots along the way. And then I think my cousin had gotten like a little handy cam, like a video camera. And I can't remember if I got one first or if he got one first, but he was very much an inspiration at a young age in what he was doing with making like funny videos and stuff like that. And I kind of got in and started doing that as well with my friends, just all sorts of random silly stuff. And was in all sorts of classes in high school doing photography, doing video work, and eventually it was like my mother worked at Indiana University, so she kind of introduced me to the WTIU / telecommunications building.
Nice. Okay.
And I remember getting a tour when I was still in high school. Like, she was trying to connect me with the people there to like see if it would be where I wanted to go to school and what I wanted to get into. And I remember just being like blown away at seeing like the TV studio there. You know?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
and it was just really cool. So I went in and studied telecommunications design, production, video, and also fine arts photography. The buildings were connected. It was like I just had to go back down this one hall, to get between classes. So that just kind of, snowballed from there at that point. I still wonder, I'm like, is there going to be a point where I'm going to have to get a real job where like I don't do what I love in some way? Like, yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, day jobs there's work involved. You got to do things you don't always enjoy doing, but by and large, it's still like is encompassed by, I get to go out and work with cameras, work with people, create something, edit it, deliver it to them. It's for them. That's always been a big part of what brings me joy in the work that I do is, it's not something I'm doing for myself.
Right.
So it's like, I mean, like, I don't want to get too salesy, but that's kind of one of the things we say, when we talk to people, when we do wedding videography, it's like, we'll try to deliver you the most finished video we can, but it's your video. It's not ours. So like we welcome you to tell us if there's anything you want changed.
It's not what we want. It's what you want.
So if it's like, we put a shot in there of like, Aunt Sally dancing, and you're like, I don't want that shot in there. Let's take it out. Great. Like, we're not going to be offended.
Like, we
by
told
that
you
sort of
Aunt
thing.
Sally's a bad dancer and not to film her.
Well, no. I mean, if they told us that, then we're not going to put it in there. You know what I mean? But
No,
it's
I know.
like it's for them. We want them to be happy with it. So I love it when I get to show people for the first time the photos or the videos.
Oh, I bet. That's
and,
got to be awesome.
Their eyes light up. It's, probably like you always say, you meet people at the happiest part of their day. You give them ice cream.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like when you can find that perspective on what it is that you're doing and find that little joy in it. Like, you just got to kind of hang on to that.
When I get it, like I did video production like my senior year of high school, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Like we did like a version of Telltale Heart and like went to Conner Prairie. Like one of the guys in my group.
I want to see that video. Are you in it?
No, I'm not in it. I've directed and filmed.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't, but you weren't a triple threat. You didn't.
No,
also star
I
in
acted in plenty of other things, but yeah, that was. Actually, you'll get a kick out of some of my old high school video production videos. I've got them for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get that because we're lucky. Like I love my job, and a lot of people hate their job or don't.
There's nothing about the work they're doing that relates to something else that they're interested or passionate in some way. I mean, like I said, there's still parts of the job that is work, answering emails, going through logistics, like working with teams of people who you've got to like really explain things to or not quite getting the idea, or you've got to like kind of convince them, persuade them on something. Like there's work to be done, but you still have those moments that you can really like appreciate and dive into.
Well, and that's the big thing that made me fall in love with the restaurant industry, and the reason why I love my job now and why I think a lot of people don't like their job is the monotony. You know what I mean? Like right now, I'm lucky. Like I'll be in the office, I'll be at the Nashville store, I'll be at Food Truck Friday, be at different events, be all over. So it's always every day's different. Everything's mixed up a little bit. With your waiting tables, your bartending, you're getting different people. Yeah. It's a whole different experience every shift. Video production, you're traveling all over. It's different videos, it's different themes. It's just not. I just can't do monotony, and it's and like again, it's just satisfying. Presenting something to someone, getting that immediate reaction instead of you're doing something that you're never going to see the result.
I was just talking with my business partner in the video wedding video business that I have
Gold Iris Weddings.
Some Gold Iris Weddings,
Yeah,
and we were hashtag we were kind of riffing on something that you just brought up there, which is like sometimes with video you end up being in a place that otherwise, if not there to like film that video, you're like, how else would I be in this place with this person doing this thing? And it's like, it's always like exciting to kind of get that, that special access.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And that's what like first got me really like instead of it being like a hobby and like what I was going to school for, as I was turning 21 in Bloomington, going out to see all the music at the Bluebird, at Jake's, the Vid, different places like that. I didn't want to just go and like drink beer and watch the music. Like I wanted to somehow be a part of that event in some way. And so I'd bring my camera, I'd take photos, and in so doing, you now like, if you're good at what you do, you can talk to those people, you can meet them, you can get behind stage, you like get called to do a follow-up shoot with them. Like, you kind of get into that behind the scene access, which is really exciting at a young age to not just be a spectator at an event.
Absolutely. Yeah. The same thing happens with ice cream events where you're going in locker rooms or just different places on IU's campus, other places outside of IU that like, you would under no circumstances otherwise have ended up there. Mm-hmm. That's so cool.
Yeah.
What tell me about some of your like food. Like I want to know, because you're like, obviously we're on a food podcast and I know. Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the first days we're in here building the set, you're like, all right, I got to order some food. And you introduced me to the crispy ginger chicken at Mai Tai.
And it has cashews on it. And like, that's my favorite nut is the cashew. So you can't get much better than like a nice crispy, gingery fried kind of chicken. Yeah. With a good sauce on it.
Well, it's not too often people are introducing me to something I haven't had in town. So I really, I enjoy it. I've ordered it twice since you've introduced me to it.
Twice now. Okay. Yeah. Good. Awesome.
But yeah, so obviously you like Thai. I mean, tell me about some of the other places you like to go, what you like to order.
Around Bloomington?
No, my bad. I didn't realize this was No Dishes. Well,
because I get to travel a lot. And so that's, for me, is really fun to kind of, explore what else is out there in the world, try to find like things that are more specific to that area or that region. Because I grew up here in Bloomington, like I kind of get in a rut sometimes of like the things I know that I like, and I don't think of them as like a special suggestion for someone. It's just kind of like, well, this is what I do. So like, like Thai food is a frequent carry out in our house. Mai Tai downtown or Siam House are pretty equal. I mean, unfortunately, my favorite thing of all time was Siam House's lunch buffet. They don't have it anymore, but it was like back in the day as an undergrad, you could get it for like $7 or $8 and like just get the most like gourmet, delicious Thai food, unlimited and like freshly made, freshly prepared. So I still go there and I'll order their entrees,
but it's not the buffet.
Like that. It's not the buffet,
dude. You've told me about it before, and I've had Siam House multiple times, but never got to experience the buffet. We were talking about Taste of India's though.
I was just there yesterday.
Dude, it's so good.
They had a I actually was talking to the guy at the register, because like I feel like you see the pretty standard things they have at every buffet every day there, but there was something that I'd never had before there, and he's like, yeah, we just started taking it off of our menu and trying it at the buffet, and it was, I thought, I looked at it and I thought, oh, that's chicken. And I was like, yeah, I love chicken. Put it on. It looked kind of spicy. It was red.
Red means spice.
Yeah. Well, because they do have a red chicken there that's called like chili chicken or something with peppers and onion and garlic. And that I know is good. But this had a different name and it was in a different spot. And I was like, oh, this is different. I'll try it. And I was eating it. And like, I almost got through the whole portion. And I was like, wait a second. This is cauliflower. And it was delicious. It was amazing. It was like gobi something. It was a GHOBI. And then I didn't see what the second word was. And I was talking to the guy. I was like, man, that gobi was delicious. He's like, yeah, we're starting to try new things that we have on our normal menu as buffet items.
I love that.
That's great that they're like starting to mix things up and do things like that, because we had a few years without buffets, right? With
it's like, don't take it for granted. Yeah. Well, the last time I was there, I mean, there's all the little, man, what are they called? They're like the little crispy things somewhere like
pakora. Those are the bomb. Nowadays I only get like one or two of those because I know I could just fill up on those.
I could do alone. 2 full plates of those. But anyway,
and then you could like put the curry or whatever on top of it.
Yeah,
just to like add a little extra.
Yeah, a little.
Do you do the chutneys though, or do you go all the way to the end? Past all the food, then they have
like, Jordan, you might not know this.
Well, because it's like, it looks like, oh, there's like a yogurt and like just like plain lettuce and like wedges of tomatoes.
So the last time I went, I did not. But the time before that, I did.
Which one did you have?
Like mango chutney.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they have one there. It's like pickled onions. It's savory. It looks it's reddish again. It looks reddish, spicy, and it's like it just reminds me of like barbecue for some reason. The flavor profile of it.
Yeah, I mean,
I just get a big old spoon.
I'm a big onion guy. Every time I would go into Crazy Horse for a while, when Jay King was still there, he'd always be, "Let me guess, add onion," because like I'd always like order something and add onion.
Yeah,
every single time.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I'm a big potato guy. I love
little tater,
potatoes.
Little starch.
My parents, either my mom or my dad, they'll both tell the story of like, oh yeah, like when you were a baby, my dad's mom, my grandma, would watch me like during the day while my parents were working, and they loved saying like, oh yeah, your grandma used to take you to McDonald's, you call it Dondu's, and she would sit you down and give you French fries, and you loved it.
Yeah.
And you'd drive by and you'd be like, Dondu's, like, and want French fries all the time.
Hooked
and I think from that point on, like any kind of potato, I'm game for. The reason I'm bringing this up is you said Crazy Horse, and the first thing I think about when I think about Crazy Horse,
potato cakes.
No, just their plain old French fries.
Oh yeah, all right.
And I used to have a little studio office just down that alleyway across the street.
Oh yeah,
under the
I remember.
Chase Bank.
Yeah.
And that was a thing. I had their phone number on my dry erase board. I call them up for just like a to-go order of French fries.
I need a little midday snack.
Yeah.
Get me through.
I think they use like an Old Bay or some sort of like light Cajun style flavor on them, but it's not heavy duty like say a Five Guys Cajun fry would be.
Yeah.
But it's got like a nice salt on it. They're usually not either too overdone or underdone, and like they're a little bit bigger and fluffier. And I think it's kind of like people look at me and they think I'm crazy. Like Crazy Horse fries are not that good, but I like them, man.
No, they're great.
They're great.
Do. Crazy Horse has, I mean, ever since they stopped serving cantaloupe with every, do you remember those days?
I remember.
It was like a slice of honeydew or cantaloupe with everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you got to stop. And eventually they finally stopped. I never got it. But
yeah, I know. I don't.
The cheese sticks there, the wings,
fried macaroni cheese.
Yeah.
It's it's like a puck.
Yeah.
Deep fried.
It's like, yeah, I'll do the fried mac and cheese. How many pucks would you like? Yeah, it's like I'm gonna 3. What do you think, honey? 2 pucks, 3 pucks?
Those are good.
Yeah,
love those.
What about speaking of buffets, old Mr. Hibachi?
That's pretty much my like. If I'm like gonna go to a buffet, like probably 9 times out of 10 nowadays will be that buffet.
I mean, I feel like it's consistently ranked the number 1, isn't it? I feel like it always gets
for
like
Chinese or for like all
buffet
and
for
Bloomington?
buffet.
Yeah. Well, there were a few downtown that have since I've just found out recently have shut down that I would have ranked above Hibachi just because I feel like, I mean, Hibachi is consistent. It's like literally gonna be the same stuff in the same part of the steam top like all the time. There's rarely something new to try there. So I know it's consistent, but I like things off the beat path a little bit if I can find it. Like Anatolia had an amazing lunch buffet, and RIP, I just found out they actually closed down. Turquoise also had an amazing lunch buffet. Oh yeah,
I've had the Turquoise one.
Well, I don't. This is going to show how bad I don't go downtown very often anymore. But do you remember Samira? Or are they still there?
Yeah, they're still open. Yeah,
Samira used to do a lunch buffet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they still do the lunch buffet, but I want to say they do.
Yeah.
But that's the only time I've ever had Samir actually was that buffet.
Yeah.
And that's one of the ones that I always forget that I want to go in and do a nice dinner and write a review about, because that's consistently one of the places
they're fantastic
that people are like, that's my favorite restaurant. And I never talk about because I've only been there once.
Yeah.
And like, I need to give them the love
that
they
deserve. They don't have a flashy
deserve.
outside, and it's like I feel like they've been there for so long, like it just like I'm
it
blind
blends
to
in.
it. You know what I mean? And then they have that super long side of the building with like nothing on it,
right?
And so it's like, come on, guys, you could like do a mural there, and like it says Samira or something,
Yeah, no, I get it. Introducing Constellation Stage and Screen, Bloomington's newest professional theater and film company. On stage next, Constellation presents Death Trap, this January and February at the Ted Jones Playhouse, now extended through February 19th due to high demand. Holding the record for the longest-running comedic thriller on Broadway, Death Trap is filled with twists and turns in a series of shocking events that'll keep you on the edge of your seat until the very last moment. See Death Trap on stage January 26th through February 19th in downtown Bloomington. Find tickets at SEE constellation.org. Did you know the Chocolate Moose has a second Bloomington location? Located next to Buffalo's on Indiana Avenue, not only can you find our famous homemade ice cream, but we also have a full coffee menu featuring locally roasted Brown County coffee and delicious vegan and gluten-free treats from our friends at Rainbow Bakery. Skip the line and order ahead at moosebtown.com 7 days a week. Open early at 8 a.m. Monday through Friday. It's the perfect early morning stop, midday pick-me-up, or late night snack. So what about, before we let you go, I want to do like a speed round.
Okay, I'll try.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
I'll try.
We've been going for a while today. All right, burger.
Unfortunately, it's not a local spot. I had them today. It's consistency that I love from them. Five Guys.
We're never gonna live this down.
It's just where I go. I mean, I've heard you list off places to go for burgers. Those are all great burgers, but I would not consistently go there for that burger.
I want you to be honest, but I'm gonna move on from burger then if you're gonna say Five Guys.
I had them today.
I know. All right. Hey, Five Guys is good.
And the Cajun fries. I mean, I think my favorite, again, I said I love potatoes. My favorite thing is when you get the large, it's a massive cup. And then I literally saw her today. She took a giant scoop after already putting the large cup in there and like poured a giant load in the back. And I love the back. I remember as a kid, you like that giant load of fries. Yes. When I was a kid, again, that was like the best thing about McDonald's fries was when you finish the carton,
bag fries.
You finish the carton, you're like, oh, they're gone. The
bag fries.
And you look down there and like under your like straw wrapper and like the sandwich wrapper, it's a bag fries.
Yeah, you think you're all out, you're sad.
It's a treasure.
You got bag fries.
It's a treasure.
All right, I get that. That's a good explanation. I'll let it slide.
And the Cajun flavoring is phenomenal.
Right.
Yes.
Unique. What about pizza?
Yeah. We're a two-way split in the household. My heart is a three-way split, but we're pretty consistent on Mother Bears or Avers. Like I couldn't say we're one over the other, but there's differences of why you'd get one over the other.
Yeah, pros and cons.
But we try to flip between them. So it's like, if we had recently had Avers, we'll go Ma Bears. If we recently had Ma Bears, we'll go Avers. In my heart, I also very much love Pizza X.
Absolutely.
For many reasons, but it's an entirely different style pizza.
No, it's all mood.
I don't think you could compare it to the Avers and the Mother Bears, but I like it. I like the saltiness. I like how it's kind of thin. Yeah, all good things. And I don't do it hardly ever, but I think I should do it more. Is that you can actually go in and just buy their raw dough and make your own pizza at home. And it's like $2 or $3.
Yeah, it's super cheap. That was actually, they kind of promoted that and it got some circulation during the pandemic.
Yeah.
But I've totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
That's right.
I consistently forget about it. And then when I remember it, I'm just like,
why am I not doing it?
Why am I not doing
it? Well, I know why I don't, because I don't cook. But
well, you don't have any dishes to put put your pizza on to cook it. Yeah.
No, I literally don't. I this name I live it. I live it. All right.
Yes.
Bougie spot, date night spot.
Yeah. So I would say if you looked at historical data, we go as a family. We go for like birthdays, anniversaries to Truffles.
Nice. Yeah.
On the east side, we're really close to it. But I would say after recently we went to the Elm for someone's birthday, that's probably going to be on the list now for a while. We might be going to Elm a lot more because they were great. That rabbit dish,
dude. I know.
Like I did an upside down pot pie.
I did the steak and egg, which was good.
Yeah.
Most expensive thing. I wanted to try their filet.
Yeah.
So I just knew how their filet was, and it was excellent.
Medium
rare.
Okay.
But the rabbit,
yeah, it was phenomenal. I was not what I was expecting. But at the same time, there were other people who were not expecting what they got, and I think they may have felt let down by what they got, and I was not let down by not expecting what I got.
Yeah, well, it was another person got it, and they shared with me, not you.
No, I didn't share with anyone. My wife had a few bites.
It's in the montage that you watched before this episode. It's in there.
It's like a round
half
crust,
dome,
looks like a pie,
glossy pastry, like some slits in it.
And it has a little bit of like velvety white potatoes. I don't want to call them mashed potatoes because they were just so smooth and creamy that it wasn't like
creamy potatoes.
Yeah, it was like icing. It was like frosting,
but not sweet.
No, but the gravy was like fig gravy, so it was kind of more fruity, and you put that on there.
Yeah, we went with the crew to Elm, and it was fantastic. The oysters,
definitely going back.
The winter burrata, the service, everything was absolutely
each
phenomenal.
appetizer I tried, I was just like, this is amazing. There was not one bad thing.
Not at all.
I had.
Yeah.
And the first cocktail that I got, I should have just had it the rest of the time, was called the Italian 75. It was a gin with their homemade limoncello and some other things. And it like, you tasted it and it was like, it tasted strong, which if I'm going to have a cocktail, like, I don't want it to be like extra sweet or extra watery. Like, I want it to slow me down, from just drinking it.
Yeah, you don't want to throw it back too quick. It's not jungle juice.
Yeah, but it was delicious. It was light. It was refreshing.
Yeah, I mean, Leah, the beverage director there, does a phenomenal job, and the mocktail I had was excellent.
Yeah.
Everyone was just so happy. We were there for like 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Roxy, our server, was phenomenal. Aaron that set it up. Ashley that, despite my wishes, put a candle in
someone else's dessert.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, that was so funny, but that was great. Anywhere we're missing that you want to shout out before we go?
I mean, you brought it up too, and I just, again, we don't go out that much, but the times we've gone, Osteria Ragu is phenomenal. Like, everything I've ever had there is just so good.
Chicken marsala.
And I'm glad it's not fast. Like, I want to sit there and enjoy each thing that comes out, and the environment and the company. It doesn't feel busy, people bustling around doing all sorts of stuff. You can just really like sink in and enjoy that spot. That's a good one, I think.
Yeah.
As well.
No, I mean, if it's not my top, it's one of my tops. It's so great. It's a great date night spot, really nice. But they do an incredible lunch special.
Oh, okay.
That's a half sandwich, half salad. It's like $10.99, and the sandwiches are like the Little Italy sandwiches that are just big boys and just really high quality ingredients. Like, you can just tell. And I don't think they're that busy at lunch. They might be, but I call my order in, I go get it. Like, I highly suggest it.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, hope you enjoyed being over on this side, being in front of the camera.
I appreciate that. Well, I'm excited to kick off the side dish series, but I think I'm also excited to see what's going to kind of come from it. I don't know. There's only so many people that have had a hand in the podcast, and we're going to feature all of them.
Yeah, we've got like 7 or 8, and we've got 10 side dish for this season.
And then, maybe it kind of takes its own life and goes somewhere.
Yeah, well, I'm sure people will have ideas. People will have suggestions. We've got you as the introductory one, which makes perfect sense since you are the new producer and you've had such a large hand in this. I think we'll have me for next week. And then we have all these other people, including Visit Bloomington, that sponsored this whole season, which is incredible. Their mission just kind of lines up with ours. So that worked out. And a lot of other people that have helped No Dishes be where it's at. That we want to come on and talk to, even though they're not directly with a restaurant. So
absolutely.
Thanks for kicking it off, buddy.
Cheers, man.
Thanks for joining us in the latest episode of the No Dishes podcast. Do you like what you heard? Be sure to write a review, rate us, subscribe, like, whatever it is that you do to show your support. We really appreciate it. Until next time, be sure to keep those hands dry. This episode of the No Dishes podcast was recorded, edited, and produced by Garrett Poortinga of Green Hat Media in beautiful downtown Bloomington, Indiana.
No dishes.
Season 4 of the No Dishes podcast is brought to you by VisitBloomington.com. VisitBloomington.com is the best resource for restaurants and culinary information, special events, fun activities, places to stay, and more in our area. We share a similar mission here on the No Dishes podcast of highlighting local businesses and the people who make our community unique. We can't thank them enough for hopping on board. Check them out at VisitBloomington.com to easily plan your next meal, visit, or night out on the town.
No Dishes Media.
No Dishes Media.